Hello, everybody. This episode of the Lewis Sabin Video Podcast is brought to you, as always, a huge thank you to Joe Rogan and the Joe Rogan Experience. Without Joe, I would have never thought about doing this. His podcast is available on YouTube and iTunes. Some of his comedy is available on Spotify. We're also brought to you as a huge thank you to Zions, the only energy drink I drink, 0 calories, 0 sugar, no crash, no jitters. The original great tasting 0 calorie energy drink. Real energy for real people. The unique formula that gives you the hashtag power too. I am, of course, not sponsored by either of these companies. I will not be drinking a Zions today, although I've got one, because I'll be covering the draft later today, and I'm probably going to drink it then. Okay. Now there's the only sponsor that I'm actually sponsored by, and that is Fucks. Not given here, not given there, not given anywhere. I really hope you could hear that. My mic sometimes acts up. Yeah. All right. So last night was the first round of the 2016 NFL Draft, otherwise known as that thing that I've been talking about for like 9 months. Some great picks were made. Some picks were made. Overall, really good draft. The second and third round is tonight. Fourth and fifth. I just said third. Fourth and fifth is Saturday, and the sixth and seventh is Sunday. I believe that's how they're doing it. I could be wrong, but I think that's how they're doing it. If not, then that means that it would be rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday, which would make them start at like noon, which would be okay, actually. I don't have anything going on Saturday. All right, let's quick cover this so we can all get on with our lives. No, I'm kidding. Because, well, this is interesting. Okay, so multiple trades were made, of course, several weeks ago. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. 2 or 3. Anyway, the Tennessee Titans originally held the number 1 draft pick, and they traded to what is now the Los Angeles Rams. And then the Browns turned around either the same day or the next day and traded their first round pick, which is second overall, to the Eagles. We'll cover the rest of the trades as we move down, but those are the first 2 that are big. With the first pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams from the Tennessee Titans selected Jared Goff, quarterback, California. I expected this to happen. He is a solid quarterback, good pocket passer, good footwork. I liked one of the comparisons they made during the draft with ESPN. They said that he reminds people of Montana. And I thought back to some of the tape I've seen on Montana. Of course, he kind of was gone by the time I started watching ball. Big fan of his, though. But I have to agree. A lot of the things that he does, the drop back and throw type style as opposed to drop back, stand there and see if I can run, which is what a lot of kids do now, is similar to his. His release is similar on the ball and how he drops it perfectly into a segment. I think he's a solid player. I think that's a great pick. Let's move on. Pick number 2, the Eagles selected Carson Wentz, quarterback, North Dakota State. They gave him the same grade on NFL.com. That's how I'm getting this information. As Jared Goff. I don't believe that's accurate. I think Carson Wentz is going to be a bust in the NFL. He hasn't played any real talent at defense. When he did finally play some real talent, and I've been catching a lot of flack for this, in the Senior Bowl, he finally played some players that, weren't trash, and he panicked. And when he panicked, he tried to use his legs. And when you're not 4.3 speed, You're not getting away from some of the defensive tackles that you're going to be facing in the NFL and in the Senior Bowl. And so, yeah, he had some issues. Do I think that throughout work he can get better? Absolutely. But if you're going to start him day one, you're going to have a bust. He's going to get hurt, and he's going to do nothing. I know a lot of people, the comparison I've been getting when I say that, he's going to be a bust, and that during the Senior Bowl, everybody's that's giving me shit about it has said, well, that's the Senior Bowl. You train for like 2 days. No one's good in the Senior Bowl. That's real funny because, there are a few quarterbacks who played right after him. And let's see. Vernon Adams won the MVP of the game. He did extremely well. Let's see here. Who else played? Oh, would you look at this? Kevin Hogan played. He looked fine. The quarterback Sudfeld from Indiana played. He looked fine. Dak Prescott played. He looked perfectly fine. Notice a pattern here. When teams have actually played somebody worth a damn, they play better. Crazy thought. So I think he's a bust. I don't think he was worth it. With the third overall pick, the Chargers selected Joey Bosa, Ohio State defensive end. That's a solid pick. I don't know if the Chargers... Here's what I want to say. So I thought the Chargers were going to go with Jalen Ramsey. I thought that was the pick that made the most sense. They went with defensive line Joey Bosa. Bosa is a spectacular talent. He is extremely good. And if you need an edge rusher, that's the guy you got. I thought they should have gone safety or corner. But they ended up getting Bosa. Don't really know how he's going to fit their scheme. But he's one of those guys where people talk about, he didn't run very fast during his combine. And he didn't do this real great during the combine. Well, pardon my French to those who get offended by my language, but fuck the combine. He passes what I call the eyeball test. You flip on game tape, he produces. I used to play ball. I did terrible during practices. Why? I don't like practice. Practice sucks. You got me running when it's 80 degrees out in helmet and gear for no apparent reason, but because I want you to run now. You put me in a game, I was fine because I had actual things to do as opposed to the coach just telling you, I feel like you guys should run wind sprints now. I think you guys should do 20 push-ups. I think you should run this way. I think you should run that way. In a game, you actually have to do things, and there's actual goals. For instance, sacking the quarterback. That's a big deal. What does Bosa do? He sacks the quarterback a lot. So, solid player, great choice. Then we go right back to Ohio State. With the fourth pick, the Cowboys selected Ezekiel Elliott, running back. I originally wasn't sold on the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong. Elliott's a great player. And I think of the running backs, he's going to be the best prospect coming out, with the exception to maybe Kenneth Dixon. But that depends on what team he ends up with. Solid player. I thought they should have gone defense. But it's one of those where you look back and you go, you got a running back for your future who's very good. Really no argument. The fifth pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Jalen Ramsey, corner, 6'1", Florida State. There are a few question marks on Ramsey. I thought the Chargers were going to take him. Jags got him. He's a very good player. I think part of the problem is he doesn't put 100% effort into everything. Again, he's one of those where it's like, that's, to be honest with you, the only question mark I got. With that exception, he's fine. They were talking on ESPN that he doesn't have a lot of interceptions. Well, one of the guys that you guys have such a high rating on has 0 interceptions. So why is there a guy who's only got 2 or 3 so bad when the guy that you have rated really high has 0? I don't know. I just don't get it. I think he's a great pick. I thought that was great for the Jags. Good work. All right, now we get into a fun conversation. With the 6th pick, the Ravens originally top of the board. Originally was supposed to go first, and then of course the trade with the Rams happened, and they really didn't need him. Well, I mean, you wouldn't trade that high to get a tackle. But the number 1 rated offensive tackle was Laramie Tunsil. A picture has surfaced. It's a video, actually, of Laramie smoking a bong attached to a gas mask. It's a gas mask bong. I'll talk about that here in a second. And that caused him to slide. So with the 6th pick, the Ravens actually took one of my favorite tackles in the draft, Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame. I think he's better than Tunsil, but that's just me. Now on to the actual bong thing that I want to talk about real quick. It was amazing to me watching, of course, I had on ESPN them talk about this incident and find out how little they know about what he was using. They're like, he's got a thing attached to like a gas mask. I don't know what it's like. All right, it's called the gas mask bong. It's self-explanatory. It's a bong attached to a gas mask. I don't smoke, but I know what the shit is. I'm not stupid. I just thought it was funny how they all seem to not know what that is. I don't know what that glass thing is attached to the end of the gas mask. It's a bong. It's obviously a bong. Anyone who's not retarded knows that it's a bong. It was almost like they didn't want to say the word bong, and it was kind of funny to me. Because then I flip on Dan Patrick this morning, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, "Did you see the gas mask bong picture?" Which I thought was funny. All right, moving on to what actually happened. The Ravens took Ronnie Stanley. I think he's the best tackle. I think he's got the best footwork. He's got long arms, and he can stonewall people. And the Ravens absolutely need help. So that's a great pick. With the 7th overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers selected DeForest Buckner, defensive end, Oregon. He's 6'7", so now you have, I want to say it's Ian Williams in the middle. Defensive tackle. On one end, you now have DeForest Buckner from Oregon, and on the other end, also plays a little bit defensive tackle, you have Eric Armstead, who's 6'8", from Oregon. I thought that was a great pick for them. They definitely helped out their defense. Your offense needs help, but your defense needs help as well, and defense wins championships. So I thought that was a good move by the Niners. So the 8th overall pick is now the Titans. They originally had, I think it was 15, and they traded up to the Cleveland Browns. It's from the Browns through the Eagles through the Dolphins is how it's written on here. And the Tennessee Titans with the 8th overall pick select Jack Conklin, offensive tackle, Michigan State. Again, why didn't they take Tunsil? It's kind of hard to explain to your owner who's sitting in the war room with you to go, yeah, we're going to take the kid with the bong attached to his face. So they took Jack Conklin. I think that's a great pick. Conklin's a very good tackle out of Michigan State. Needs a little work, I think, but other than that, he should be fine. With the 9th pick, the Bears from the Buccaneers take Leonard Floyd, outside linebacker from Georgia. I'm not crazy about this pick. I think you got a position that you need in linebacker, although I don't think Leonard Floyd is going to be a linebacker. I think you shift him down to defensive end because he's a little shady in coverage, but he's good at rushing. He's good at making tackles behind the line. So I think you put him at defensive end and let him rush people. There we go. With the 10th pick, the Giants selected Eli Apple, corner, Ohio State. Eli is 6'1". I'm not going to make any Apple jokes because, let's be honest, it's low-hanging fruit, and they're not that great. Plus, ESPN pretty much did all of them already. And I'm not kidding. I think that's a pretty good pick. I would have personally thought they'd go linebacker, but you do have a pretty crappy backfield, and you got a solid player in Apple. He's got to clean up. And again, I'm not quoting ESPN. ESPN and I have a lot of the same opinions because I actually do my homework on players, unlike other people who release mock drafts and things like that. The biggest problem I have with Eli, he uses his hands a little too much. He gets a little grabby, which in college you can get a little grabby, not a lot, but if you're battling with the hands, I can grab your wrist and throw it. Where in the NFL, if I do that, I'm getting flagged 9 times out of 10. So I think he's got to work on not being so grabby. But other than that, solid pick. And then the 11th pick from the Bucs, which was originally the Bears pick, they got Vernon Hargreaves III, who I think is the best corner in the draft. He's 5'10", which makes him kind of undersized. I've seen shorter corners do just fine. But he has a real knack to get to the ball. And I think the Buccaneers picked an amazing guy. With the 12th pick, the Saints select Sheldon Rankins, defensive tackle. They haven't listed as defensive end, but they're going to probably use him at tackle. Out of Louisville. Sheldon Rankins is a guy that I don't watch a lot of Louisville ball. I really hadn't heard of him. And then I watched the Senior Bowl, and I just saw how quick this kid was up out of his stance and find where the ball is and just pummel whoever had the ball. And so I flipped on some tape for him not too long ago. Watched Louisville against, I forget who. And he seemed to be in the backfield more often than not. So I was interested to see him go there. I kind of hoped he would slide to where Detroit is. But, solid pick. He's not the biggest guy at 6'1", but he's quick out of his stance, and he's going to hit whoever has the ball. Solid choice. Now we get to pick number 13. The Dolphins from the Eagles. They take Laramie Tunsil, offensive tackle, Ole Miss. I'll discuss that in a second. I'm going to get my dog from outside. Hey. 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 Come on. Come on, bud. Come on. Hey. Hey. Come on. Come on, buddy. There you go. Come on. That's my big boy. Now you gonna come see me now? Buddy. Buddy. Careful of the wire. I don't want you to knock it out of the wall. I need my laptop to charge. Oh, cold nose. So, I was on the Dolphins, right? Yeah, the Dolphins select Laramie Tunsil from Mississippi. He, of course, is the guy who had the bong attached to his face. So there have been a lot of interesting images that have come out. Let me pull one of them up. Feel free to Google this image if you want. Hang on a second. Who sent it to me? I don't know where it's from. It's been sent to me by 2 different sources, but that's the image, which is pretty funny. That's the device he had attached to his head. Uh, so he goes to the Dolphins, and I have to say this, I really hope it was a mistake. He claims that it's 5 years old, and that's not me. And I really do hope that that's true, and that's not him. But if you look at the picture after he takes the mask off, sounds like I'm talking about like Batman or something. After he takes the mask off, he looks exactly how he looks right now. He's got the same build, same broad shoulders. So for him to say, 5 years ago, he doesn't look like a high schooler. He looks like he does now. Now, see, if he'd have said, oh, that was my freshman year, I was trying to be one of the guys, it was a mistake, I'd buy that. Freshman, sophomore, something like that. But yeah, I just don't know. There's a lot of turmoil, a lot of problems that are going on with him and Ole Miss right now. Hopefully it all gets settled, and hopefully he plays well. But I do have to say this. The Dolphins grabbed him, and they have never had a problem with any of their personnel ever. They don't have any trouble with people on their team. Especially Ndamukong Suh. He's never been in trouble for anything. I, of course, am being sarcastic. With the 14th pick, the Raiders picked exactly who I expected them to pick. It was one of those, this was the worst kept secret in the draft. The Raiders picked Karl Joseph, safety out of West Virginia. Anybody who knows the Raiders system knew they had to go safety. And Karl Joseph is the best safety in the draft. Solid pick, great choice. With the 15th pick, the Browns select from the Titans through the Rams, Corey Coleman, wide receiver, Baylor. I wasn't 100% sold on Corey. I'm still not. I don't know if the Browns should have gone with him. There's a couple different spots that you definitely could have worked on. Although you do give Robert Griffin a solid person to throw to. I'm not a huge fan of Corey Coleman. I think there's certain routes he doesn't run very well. He kind of gives up halfway through. But if you're just going to have him run a 9 route, which is straightforward, I think he'll be fine. The biggest thing is because you need another receiver. Also because, I think what's his name? The other receiver from Baylor that they have, I can't think of his name right now, currently is suspended. And it's unlikely he's going to be reinstated. So you need another receiver. They've needed to go receiver the last couple years and haven't. So it's nice to see they at least have the initiative to go, we need somebody. Let's take the guy who's really fast. With 16, the Lions actually made a solid choice for once in taking Taylor Decker, offensive tackle, 6'7" out of Ohio State. The kid's got a good frame, good footwork, and the biggest thing that I have to say for Taylor Decker is there's 2 things that are huge that are going to help out Detroit. He's got long arms, and he's fast. So if I need you to, we're running a screen, and I need you to get over to the edge and block this guy, I don't have to wait 90 seconds for you to get over there. He's quick off the ball. He can get to the edge if I need him to block the edge. It's a great pick by Detroit. And it's nice to see us pick somebody that we actually needed for once. Normally we would have grabbed, a kicker. Or, I think a couple of years ago, we picked somebody who I don't even think's played. Was it a receiver? We got TJ, but that was in the 6th round. We drafted somebody a few years ago. I forget who it was, and he played 4 games, and that's it. I think that was Detroit. I don't remember. All right, with the 17th pick, the Falcons picked someone I think it's confusing. I thought they could have gone somewhere else, but they did get Keanu Neal from Florida. Didn't think they needed a safety, but solid pick regardless. He's a big hitter. He runs to the ball, and I think that he'll help out the Falcons. Maybe it's free safety I'm thinking of that they don't need. Let me Google it real quick. There's a guy they've got on their team. I don't remember if he's a strong safety or a free safety. Of course, it doesn't tell me. Hang on. I'm quick checking the Falcons depth chart. I think he's a free safety. It just said safety, which doesn't help me. Yeah, he's a free safety. Okay, so no, they did need. It's not a huge need, but I can see where you'd want to get Neal there. The guy I was thinking was used as a free safety, so that's a solid pick for you guys. I wasn't sure at the time, but yeah, you absolutely needed that. With the 18th pick, the Indianapolis Colts selected Ryan Kelly, center out of Alabama. Now, 9 times out of 10, I'm not a really big fan of anybody coming out of Alabama because you play great in college and then they end up at the NFL and they suck. True story. So I'm interested to see how Ryan Kelly does. The Colts absolutely needed a center. They got a decent-sized guy at 6'4". He has pretty good size. 6'4" is a good size for a center. He's got decent-sized arms. I have a couple question marks on him, just off of how the Colts play in general. But other than that, I mean, you definitely need a center. They need offensive line. You need to protect Luck. And so if that has to start at center, that's a good choice. With the 19th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills selected Shaq Lawson, defensive end out of Clemson. He is my probably number 2 defensive end coming out of this draft. He's 6'3", 269 pounds. Kid's a beast. He can get off the ball, he can get in the backfield, and he can take out whoever has the ball. He's one of the many reasons why Clemson played well this year. He was part of that front line that just absolutely murdered people. The reason I think he fell this far is supposedly there's something wrong with his shoulder. It's either his shoulder or his arm that might need to be monkeyed with. I wouldn't really worry about it. My number 1 defensive end is still available right now, and that's my number 1 defensive end already got picked. It's my number 3 guy. I had him as my number 1 before Bosa came out. Bosa's my number 1. My number 2 is Shaq Lawson. My number 3 would probably have to be what's his name? It's the guy from Eastern Kentucky. He was at Ohio State. Now that's gonna bug me. Hang on. I gotta look that up because I can't think of his name. Noah Spence. My number 3 guy is Noah Spence. So my number 3 guy is still available. But definitely a solid pick by the Bills for Shaq Lawson. I thought they'd go Miles Jack. They might have a chance to trade up and get him in the second round. With the 20th overall pick, the Jets took Darren Lee, outside linebacker, Ohio State. Good linebacker, very fast, gets in the backfield, helps make sacks. I'm just glad to hear that the Jets didn't take another friggin' lineman. I'm sitting there, they're like, oh, the Jets are on the clock. Oh, the pick is in. And I'm like, please don't be a defensive end. You've got 90 of them. So it was nice. I thought maybe they'd go backfield. They got Darren Lee. Good pick at linebacker. With the 21st pick, the Texans from the Redskins, who traded a whopping 1 pick up, took my personal favorite receiver, Will Fuller from Notre Dame. The kid is fast. He's a deep threat all the way. Definitely the Texans need him. He should play outstanding for them. They need him because at the moment they really only have one wide receiver who is of solid talent. And so you need to take pressure off of him and you get another guy who is amazing. So good work for the Texans. They took Will Fuller at 21. At 22, the Redskins from the Texans took Josh Doctson, 6'2", Texas Christian wide receiver. On my board, I had Doctson as my number 3 wide receiver behind Will Fuller. My number 1 guy goes next. Doctson fights for the ball, good hands. He's got decent quickness, and he's an all-around playmaker, and the Redskins can absolutely use him. Now, my number 1 receiver goes 23rd to the Vikings, and that is Laquan Treadwell from Ole Miss. I'm kind of surprised he slid down this far, but the Vikings absolutely need him. Glad to see he fell that far, and the Vikings are able to grab a solid receiver to help out Teddy Bridgewater because, to be honest with you, they had Mike Wallace last year, and Mike Wallace didn't do shit. With the 24th pick, the Bengals select William Jackson III, corner out of Houston. He was my sleeper corner coming into the draft because he comes from a smaller school. Houston, not real big. I mean, they're starting to get there, but it's one of those teams that you ask any fan of football who doesn't watch a lot of the smaller schools, and they couldn't tell you anybody on Houston's roster. The biggest game I saw for Will Jackson was the Peach Bowl against Florida State, where pretty much every time they threw the ball, he was in the play somewhere. He was the MVP defensively for the Peach Bowl, and he did an amazing job. Good pick by the Bengals. And now their top rival picks next, Steelers at 25, and they took Artie Burns from Miami. I have a lot of question marks on Artie Burns. I didn't think that's who you should have taken. I thought you probably should have gone linebacker. But you do need backfield help. Either that or a safety. Artie's 6 foot tall. And I think he gives up on some plays. And I have some serious question marks on him for his ability to get to the ball and his overall playing ability. I think he just gives up too often. Hopefully the Steelers can get him to play some good ball, and hopefully he'll produce. With the 26th pick, the Broncos from the Seahawks select Paxton Lynch, quarterback, Memphis. Paxton Lynch was my number 4 quarterback. I don't have my board with me right now. He's a solid player. He's got great footwork. He can actually run, which is nice to see, for such a big guy. He's got possibly the best arm in the draft. So I'm very happy to see the Broncos went and got him. They need a quarterback, and he also gives you just overall a great player to have on your roster. With the 27th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Kenny Clark, defensive tackle, UCLA. That's a great pick, especially because they just lost BJ Raji for, I believe he's done for a year. I'm going to need a drink real quick. It's the biggest problem with talking like this. It gets my throat gets sore. Kenny Clark, I think, is a great choice, especially, like I said, with BJ Raji out. I believe he's out for a year, contemplating retirement. You get a big guy who's got some speed to him, coming from a pretty good team this year. And I think that that's a very solid pick and should definitely be able to help out your squad. With the 28th pick, the 49ers traded back into the first round from the Chiefs, and they selected Joshua Garnett, offensive guard, Stanford. I understand their thought that we need to help out our offensive line, so let's get a lineman before they're all gone. But at the same time, I don't think you should have done it. I had Garnett going midway through the third round. I don't believe that that was the best choice, and I think they should have just let it be. I'm hopeful that they can make him into the player that they want and that he'll be able to block well, because the Niners need to go quarterback, and I think I know who they're going after. And hopefully he'll be able to help, but I just don't know. With the 30th pick, the Cardinals go land shark and take Robert Nkemdiche from Mississippi. Robert Nkemdiche, I think, is one of the best defensive tackles in the draft. I was really hoping that our lovely people in the Honolulu Blue would take him. That'd be Detroit. But the Cardinals take him. He's had a little bit of trouble in the past, and that's a great locker room for him to go to. Because you'll notice the Cardinals have taken a couple guys who have iffy pasts and made them into great players who have stayed out of trouble, which is, of course, a huge deal, because that's part of the problem that plagues a lot of teams, is that you get a decent player, but they don't know how to stay out of trouble. You know, like Johnny Manziel. Or who's the other guy that just got in trouble? Randy Gregory. You know, if you can't stay out of trouble, then I really don't need you on my team, because I'd rather take a kid that stays out of trouble, plays well, and I know will be there every Sunday. So hopefully he can turn his life around and play well for the Cardinals. They definitely needed him. Now imagine this. They run a 3-4 defense. They occasionally run the 4 front, but they usually stay at the 3-4. They have Arthur Jones. Is it Arthur? No, they have Chandler Jones. Sorry. It's one of John Jones' brothers. It's Chandler. Chandler Jones on one side, defensive end. He's like 6'6". You got on the other end. Oh, crap. Now I can't think of his name. 6'8". Damn it. I hate when this happens. I get a brain fart and then I forget who it is. Hang on. Oh, no. I knew it was going to do that. Gave me St. Louis. I type Cardinals. It gives me friggin' St. Louis. I'm not talking about baseball right now. I'm talking about Arizona. There we go. Although they were originally St. Louis. Calais Campbell. So At the moment, their offensive front is Calais Campbell, left defensive end, right defensive end Chandler Jones, and nose tackle Corey Peters. Now they've got Calais Campbell, Chandler Jones, and Robert Camdici. So their front should be extremely good. Not to mention their backfield, which was already top 5 defense. The Panthers go and get defensive tackle Vernon Butler out of Louisiana State. I actually don't know that much about Vernon Butler. I'm not going to lie. I really don't. He's coming from a smaller school. From what I have heard, again, I looked him up a little bit after they picked him. He should be a decent player. He's 6'4". I mean, I, of course, have question marks on him because he's coming from Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's got a couple of really good prospects coming out of their team, so maybe he's a diamond in the rough. The Panthers obviously did their research on him, so they know who he is, what he's got, and whether or not he'll produce. I didn't even have him on my board, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought he'd go undrafted because he's coming from a smaller school. Although, again, he could be amazing. I don't know. And with the final pick in the draft from the Broncos, who traded, of course, up to 26, or down to 20. No, I was right the first time, up to 26. It's backwards. The 32nd pick is now the Seahawks. Now, traditionally, the Seahawks trade away their first overall pick, which not always the greatest strategy, but normally you give somebody a first-round pick and you get 3-4 other picks for either this year or next year. Like the Browns. I think they've got like 3 picks in the next 2 years. Or no, they have 3 picks next year and like 2 picks 2 years from now, or something like that. So it's you can gain a lot by getting rid of your first rounder. This year, the Seattle Seahawks did pick a guy, and they picked a guy I think will definitely help out and block for Russell Wilson, and that's offensive guard Germain Ifedi. Germain Ifedi is from Texas A&M. He's 6'6". He's 324 pounds. I got it in front of me, that's why I know that. I wanted to say 3-something. He's 324. He's a big guy. They had him at tackle. I think guard's a better position for him. He's also got those big, long arms at 6'6". And he's just kind of what you expect when you hear an offensive lineman. Just big guy. And he should absolutely help block for Seattle, for Russell Wilson, and, of course, their running back. I think it's a great choice. And I'm not even going to attempt to knock it. I had him going in the second round. So, beautiful choice for the Seahawks. Of course, I already said tonight is the second and third round. Which is going to be Browns, Titans, Cowboys, Chargers, Ravens, Chiefs. Chiefs now have the 6th overall pick in the second round, which is the 37th overall. And something that a lot of people aren't talking about, but I think is a very, pretty big deal. Let me find it real quick. The 29th and the 30th pick, 60 and 61, is the Patriots. Why is that a big deal? They're picking back-to-back. So let's say you're looking at your board, and you got 2 guys you really like. You can wait for someone to pick one of the other guys. Or in this case, where you have back-to-back picks, you can pick both of them and not worry about it. Or something that I've seen on boards, I've had it on my board before. I really like this receiver. We need a receiver. Oh, but this offensive lineman who should be right where we are is really good too. I can only pick one. Well, you've got back-to-back picks. So now you can go, oh, I can take this receiver, who I can now form into my number one guy, and I can get the offensive tackle that I need in order to block for Brady, who is not going to be playing the first 4 games. That suspension was reinstated, although I doubt it will stick. I haven't heard if they're fighting it or not. I don't know. Let me see if anybody else has 2 picks. I know the Chiefs have 2 picks. They pick 59th overall, 28th pick. If you go by round, it'd be the 29th. It's 50. When I say 59 overall, they've also got the 6th pick in this particular round. Titans have 2 picks in this round. Or do they have 3? They might have 3 now that I think about it. Yeah, they got 3 picks. So this should be an interesting round for the Titans. See what moves they make. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that seems to be it. All right, time to do this real quick. Positions. Players who are still on the board, I'm going to do them by position. That I'm, would be keeping an eye out for in the next, probably tonight, 2nd, 3rd round. I'll, of course, say what round I think they'll go. The first one is one of the quarterbacks I think will go probably midway through the second, which is Connor Cook, 6'4" quarterback, of course, from Michigan State. They gave him a medium grade. I think he's much better than that. One of the big knocks on him is that he wasn't made a captain. Well, if you ask him about it, he'll tell you that he didn't care. And to be honest with you, you don't blame him. I mean, okay, so I'm not a captain. Doesn't mean he played bad. He's a perfectly fine quarterback. Another guy who's actually, of course, same division, right below him, from Penn State, Christian Hackenberg. So Hackenberg, I have some question marks on because when Bill O'Brien was there, who of course is the guy who recruited him, he played quite well. Bill O'Brien leaves, he goes to the Texans. And Hackenberg's performance starts to go down. He, of course, lost a lot of weapons at receiver. He didn't have such a great offensive line. I'd like to see Hackenberg go someplace where he's actually going to be used. One of the places I think of that would be a perfect landing spot for him is with his old coach, and that would be the Texans. I could also see the Cowboys taking him. I could also see the Cowboys taking Connor Cook. I think the Cowboys will take Connor Cook in the 2nd round, possibly the 3rd if he's still there. I would take him in the 2nd. Hackenberg, I think, like I said, the Texans would be a smart choice because, yes, you have Brock Osweiler, but after that, really, who do you got? Case Keenum plays for the Rams, so you don't have him. I gotta think, their backup tore his ACL, I think, last year. So you're down a quarterback. You lost Brian Hoyer. They cut Brian Hoyer. Sorry, they didn't lose him. They cut him. So I think you get a really good backup in Christian Hackenberg. A guy I think that will fall into the 3rd round, Dak Prescott, Mississippi State. He's 6'2". He's got a solid arm, good footwork. He can run. And that's one of the big knocks on him before really this past season was, well, he's a running quarterback. He can't throw. Actually, he's worked in a lot. He's worked on his arm a lot. He's gotten a lot better at throwing. And he's become more of that guy who will stand in the pocket and throw. But there's no one open, take off. I see him possibly going to. Nope. Nope. Maybe. Again, if the Texans really need a quarterback, I don't think they take a guy. I'm just saying, if they take Hackenberg, they take Hackenberg. But I wouldn't worry about that until the third round, possibly second round. Not real sure where he goes. I was going to say maybe the Cowboys, but no, they probably take Cook. I'm pretty sure he fits what they're looking for. San Diego in the third round, that might be because you got to think about your quarterback who's aging. Who knows? Another guy I think will go in the second, third round is Cardale Jones, 6'5", Ohio State. He has a solid arm. Part of the thing that's a huge knock on him is, well, he didn't play well this past year. Well, I think part of the reason he didn't play well is that he's in an option style system, and he's not really an option run quarterback. He is both. He's a guy you put in there, stand there. If no one's open, take off. As opposed to what he was used to at Ohio State, which is run first, pass second. I could see him going probably late second round, midway through the third, somewhere in there. Cody Kessler, solid quarterback. I see him going late third. He's from University of Southern Cal. Coker, I don't see going until like the fourth. Sudfeld, no. Hogan. Kevin Hogan is a solid quarterback. I don't see him going until the fourth round. Okay, so I said Dak Prescott maybe to the Niners. Here's why I'm not sold on that idea. Who is in charge of the Niners? Who's their head coach? I'll give you a hint. He used to be coach at Philadelphia. Before that, where was he? Oh, Oregon. Oh, who does he almost exclusively draft from? Oregon. So I think he'll take Vernon Adams, quarterback out of Oregon. It makes sense. I think he's a sleeper quarterback in this draft. A lot of people keep knocking him, and to be honest with you, I think he's got the better arm, and he can take off and run. He reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson. He can stand there, he can throw, but if you need him to take off, he can. Trevon Boykin from Texas Christian. He's going to continue to fall. He's had a lot of trouble off the field. I could see him going third round. He originally had a first round grade at the beginning of the year. And now, not so much. Running back. Who can go in the second, third round? Derrick Henry, Alabama, will absolutely go in the second or third round. He is leaving tonight. Jordan Howard out of Indiana, second, third round. Devontae Booker is going to get his name called. Absolutely. Kenneth Dixon, most likely. Kenyon Drake, maybe. I'm trying to find where's the guy that. Keith Marshall, there he is. That is somebody who's going to be able, due to his combine, the way he performed there, and how fast he showed he is. I think he'll be able to sneak into the third. I originally had about a fourth round grade on him. I think he can sneak into the third, maybe even late second. He's, of course, from Georgia. Glenn Gronkowski might be able to move his way into the third. They got Keenan Reynolds marked as a running back. It'd be a good spot. Be a good spot for him. I think he could sneak his way into the third. He, of course, is from Navy. He was the quarterback at Navy. They run a lot of option style. He could sneak his way in there. Aaron Green will probably go in the third. And I think that'll do it. Storm Woods from Oregon State maybe will work his way into the third, but that's doubtful. Wide receiver. Okay, so there is a kid in this draft who has played phenomenal at college, has a phenomenal story, and I believe he will go tomorrow night. And that man is Sterling Shepard. Kid has good footwork. He's fast. He's got really good hands. I see him going early. Tyler Boyd from Pittsburgh, he's 6'1". He'll go tonight. Peak, I don't think so. Michael Thomas, most likely. Braxton Miller, absolutely. Farrell Cooper, no. Malcolm Mitchell, maybe. Leonte Carew goes 4th round. I got a 4th round grade on him. Listenby, I got 4th round grade. Devon Kajust, I have going possibly late 3rd, early 4th. Jay Lee, I got going in the 4th. Cody Core went. Cody Core, I didn't even know he was actually in this. I could see him going in the 3rd round. He's a pretty solid receiver. Jalen Marshall, I've got going in the 4th. Byron Marshall, I have going in the second or 3rd. I don't know if you play him at receiver, though, because of his height. He's only 5'9". I don't know if you go ahead and switch him back to running back, which is where he started. Chris Brown. I have him going in the 3rd. A lot of people are going to call me on a bias because he's from Notre Dame. Of course you think he's going to get drafted. He's a solid player. I think he goes. De'Runnya Wilson gets picked. Absolutely. In the 2nd or 3rd round. I got to make sure I say that. Obviously, he's going to get picked. I mean, he's that good. That pretty much does it there. Receiver. Tight ends. No tight end was picked in the 1st round. I'd like to make sure that's said. A guy that'll most likely hear his name called tonight. I've got a 3rd round, late 2nd, early 3rd round grade on him. He's a solid player. He can take a hit and still hold on to the ball, and that's Hunter Henry out of Arkansas. 3rd round grade that'll go tonight. Nick Vannett, Ohio State. Bryce Williams from Eastern Carolina will probably get called in the 3rd. Jake McGee will probably get called in the 3rd. He's from Florida. What did I just say? Bryce Williams from Eastern Carolina. I don't know if I said that or not. Kevon Cartwright, I could see going late 3rd. Jarrell Adams, I could see going late 3rd, early 4th. I think I got a 4th round grade on him. Now we go to offensive line. Going in the 3rd and 4th. I'm just going to go ahead and name a few people I think are impressive and move on. Because pretty much all of these guys are going in the second, third, fourth round. People I personally have on my radar: Cody Whitehair out of Kansas State. I got a second round grade on him. Raven Clark, offensive tackle. I have a third round grade on him, but I think he'll go in the second round. There's a couple teams I know that are talking about it. Sean Coleman out of Auburn. I've got a third round grade on him. Jason Spriggs. I have a second round grade on him. 6'6", Indiana. Nick Martin. I don't know why they have him marked as a guard. He's absolutely a center. You don't move him from there. I actually believe it would behoove a certain team to pick him. And this certain team happens to have his brother. And that would be the Cowgirls. I think that would be a solid pick. Nick Martin, center. He's really good. Jack Allen's another one at center, Michigan State. I got a second round grade on him. Here's a guy a lot of people, I don't know why they're knocking him. I thought he did quite well. He's 6'6", Graham Glasgow, center from Michigan. I got a second round grade on him. Spencer Drango. I got a second round grade on him. Chase Ferris, offensive guard, Ohio State. I have a third round grade on him. Von Cooper, I have a fourth round grade on. Denver Kirkland, I have a fourth round grade on. Nope. Tyler Johnston, offensive tackle, 6'5", out of Oregon. I think I have a fourth round grade on him. Most of these people I can just name off the top of my head. I mean, like where I've got them. Some of them I got to think about it. It pretty much does it. There is one player on here. I got to find him real quick. I have a fourth round grade on. Fourth or fifth. Alexander. I have a fourth round grade on Alexander. I have some question marks about his blocking ability. He's not the best. I think you could shape him into something, but a little shaky. All right. Oh, a little shout out to a guy I got going actually in the sixth round. I have to say this because he's considered a little school. Kind of a big deal because of where I'm from. I'm from Michigan, of course. And that is Willie Beavers, left tackle out of Western Michigan. Go Broncos. At least I believe that's Western Michigan. I don't remember. Yeah, it is. Because the other one's the Chips. They're in Kalamazoo. All right, now we go to defensive line. There are a couple kind of surprising, at least in my opinion, surprising guys that are left on the board in the first round. And one of them is Ashawn Robinson. I actually thought that he was going to go in the first round. I had a first round grade on him. Not the best pass rusher, but still a solid guy. So I guess he'll most likely be called today. Tonight his name will most likely be called. Again, I had a first round. I thought he was going to go at the end of the first round, but I can see him going today. Kevin Dodd goes today from Clemson. He's defensive end. Jerron Reed goes today, defensive tackle, Alabama. Jonathan Bullard from Florida will go today. Emmanuel Ogba from Oklahoma State will go today. Andrew Billings I see going. Noah Spence will go today. Shalik Calhoun. I actually have a second round grade on him, but if he goes in the third, I won't be surprised. Carl Nassib, 6'7", defensive end. His last name probably sounds familiar. I've talked about it a couple times. His last name, Nassib, might sound familiar to some of you in the New York area. His brother plays for the Giants. I'd like to see him go to the Giants because they, one, need a little help at defensive end, and two, it'd just be kind of funny to see the two of them playing one another. Sheldon Day, third round. I got a third round draft pick on third round grade on him. Then right underneath Sheldon Day is a guy I have a second round grade on, and that is Adolphus Washington out of Ohio State. Both of them are defensive tackles. Where's the other guy? Oakman, I have a third round grade on. I like him. I just don't know if he's worth the risk. There he is, Daddy Nicholson. And no, I'm not making his name up. D-A-D-I. Out of Virginia Tech. Almost said West Virginia. That's not right. I have a third round grade on him. DJ Reader, nose tackle from Clemson. I got a third round grade on him. Luther Maddie, I have a fourth round grade on. Sterling Bailey, fourth round grade. Thomas Lawrence, fourth round grade. Joel Heath, third round grade. Chris Mays from Georgia, I have a third round grade. Gerald Dixon Jr., I have a fourth round grade on him. Romeo Okwara, defensive end, 6'5", out of almost at Ohio State. That's obviously not right. Out of Notre Dame. I can't believe I almost made that mistake. I actually have a fourth round grade on him, but will not be surprised if he slides into the fifth round. He's got a little bit of a motor problem. I think he needs to lose a little weight. He's at 265. I'd like to see him around the 240 area. He's a big guy, but kind of gives up every once in a while on plays. I like to see him work a little harder. I see him going fourth, fifth round. Josh Dawson, defensive end, Georgia. I've got a fourth round grade on him. I could have sworn he was. I could have sworn he was in here. This other guy I'm looking for. Hang on. I probably went past him because his name I don't quite remember. I know what school he went to. Yep, I did. Willie Henry, defensive tackle. I have a third round grade on him. He's from Michigan. He was in on a lot of plays. Thought there was another guy from there. I'll check before the end of this. Now we're at linebackers. Of course, the most surprising one there is Miles Jack. I had him going in the late first round. He, of course, will go second round. Reggie Ragland, I had a second round grade on. He'll go today. Suick Craven, I actually have a third round pick on him. And I don't know if he played him at linebacker. He's was a safety. Might move him back to safety. Jordan Jenkins from Georgia will go today. Scooby Wright the third. I don't see why you don't take him tonight. He's a solid player. He's very good. Another one of those guys. He didn't do well in the combine. Well, he passes the eyeball test. Flip on film and holy shit. Jalen Smith, my boy out of Notre Dame. He's going to continue to slide. I got a third round grade on him. I thought maybe the Packers would take a risk on him in the first round, but I understand if he falls to round 3, that huge injury to his knee is really holding him back. Interior lineman Joshua Perry from Ohio State will get called tonight. Eric Stryker, I think, gets called tonight. I use him more of an edge rush guy as opposed. No, he's a linebacker. So, I mean, I guess you could use him as a rush guy. That's what I would personally use him as. But I understand if you want to try and roll him out into coverage. Nick Kwiatkowski. I always screw up his last name. Kwiatkowski. From West Virginia. Keep an eye out for him in the third round. He's a special talent. He's very good. This is another guy I personally have going in the third round. I understand if he falls to the fourth. Not the biggest guy, but you best believe that he's solid linebacker. And that is Tyler. I'm going to screw up his last name. Matkachev. Matakevich. That's what it is. Matakevich. I'm trying to read it phonetically. He's a top talent. He's in on every play at Temple when he was there. Truly a special talent. Someone should absolutely go up and get him. Let's keep looking here. Reggie Northrup, I have a fourth round grade on. He might go in the third. There's the guy I got a decent high grade on. Jake Gannis from Georgia. I have a fourth round grade on him, but will not be surprised if late in the third round somebody takes him. Desmond Morgan from Michigan, I have a third round grade on. And Joe Bolden, I actually have a second round grade on him due to his size and his availability to play. I think that he'll be a solid pickup for somebody late in the second round. Thirsty, bud? Sorry, I'm sure you could hear that. If not, well, the dog was drinking. Go outside. Be back in a second. Yeah, what? There you go. All right, corners. I only have a couple guys going in these next two rounds, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, more than a couple, I have a few. But it's not as many as a lot of people are probably thinking. I think a lot of these guys are fourth round material. But most likely going in the second, third round. Mackenzie Alexander from Clemson. Kendall Fuller from Virginia Tech. As much as I like Kavari Russell, I don't think he goes. Cyrus Jones will probably go. Sanchez will probably go. I see he's not on here. Well, not yet. Eric Murray will go in this round. Nope. Okay, where the hell is he? Kevin Seymour I could see going. Late third. Kevin Peterson, third. Okay, this is bugging me. Where the hell is he? That's not him. Didn't think he got picked. No, he didn't. Or is he a safety? Yeah. I mean, I'd put him at corner, but okay. Hang on a second. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going. Could have sworn I saw his name on here somewhere. Apparently not. I was going to say Tre'Davious White, but I don't see his name on here. Huh. All right, when all else fails, ask Google. Tre'Davious White. Yeah, what the fuck? No shit. No, he's going back. He's going back to LSU. Good for him. Give me a quick check on one more guy. I could have sworn was going. I don't see him either. Alright, hang on. There it is. Oh, I guess he's staying too. The other guy I was thinking of is Ryan Glasgow. I guess he's staying at Michigan. He was the other defensive tackle I was trying to think of. Okay. I guess not. We're moving on to safety then. The biggest safety, in my opinion, and I really, really, really hope that the Lions take him. Please, unto God, let the Lions take this young man. And that is Miles Killebrew, who is a fucking murderer. And I would love to have him on my team. He's 6'2", out of southern Utah. And the kid is a thumper. He loves to hit people. And, yeah, you don't want to get hit by him. It hurts. A lot. Another guy that'll definitely get called tonight, Von Bell from Ohio State. TJ Green, I see going from Clemson. Jeremy Cash from Duke. I have a 4th round grade on him, but won't be surprised if he goes in the 3rd. Jaron Kearse from Clemson will probably go 2nd round, 3rd round. Tyvis Powell from Ohio State will go in the 2nd round. Jalen Mills from LSU will go 3rd round. KJ Dillon will go 3rd or 4th. Elijah Shoemate goes 4th round. Sorry. I love you, but for some reason people don't like us. Notre Dame people, which is really sad. Nope. LaMarcus Brutus, 3rd round, 4th round, somewhere in there. Michael Caputo, 4th round. Once again, I thought he went. Okay. Guess what I get to do then? We get to go look at more prospects. Yay! There it is. Because God knows if you type in N-O, nothing happens. It sends you back down to O. So one of the things I have a problem with the NFL Network, you don't post every single prospect, which is fine, but at the same time, then when I'm freaking looking for somebody who I think is going to go in the 4th round or 3rd round, and they're not there, it confuses me because there's certain people who go, I'm going to the draft, and then 2 weeks later go, no, I'm not. Ah! It's just bugs you because then you're trying to find the guy and you're like, all right, where the hell did he go? I will quick say this. There are two guys I think could go in the fourth round. And I don't like to say this because they're kickers. But arguably, late in the fourth, if it was a position that you absolutely needed, you wouldn't do this. But we'll definitely get his name called. Again, I say late fourth because you never know. Probably in the fifth round. Everyone's like, oh, kickers only get picked in the sixth and seventh, but I've seen a couple go fourth and fifth. I mean, hell, where'd Sam Martin go? I think he went in the fourth round. Oh, no, he went in the fifth. So, yeah, late fourth, fifth round. I just want to quick name these guys because there's two of them that are very good that'll be going for sure. And that is Roberto Aguayo from Florida State. And I think Jared Oberkron from Texas Christian. Both of them. Sorry. I think both of them are very solid kickers. And we'll probably go, fifth or sixth round. I just thought I'd name them real quick because, well, I don't like to leave out specialists. They traditionally go much later. In other news, I want a quick cover before I just go ahead and end this. I don't have all the details on it yet. I'm working on it. Supposedly, Ronda Rousey has been caught with HGH, which is pretty friggin' funny. Or at least I think it is. In other glorious news, let me see. Can you pull up an official bracket? Maybe. Come on, give me a bracket. I am very saddened to say the Detroit Red Wings season is over. We lost to Tampa Bay, which of course is very, very sad. However, Tampa Bay is currently playing the New York Rangers. Their next game is Saturday at 3 p.m. on NBC. The Islanders, I believe I said that correctly. The Islanders, of course, are playing them. They played Panthers and beat them out. The Rangers lost to the Penguins, so they're moving ahead. They're playing the Capitals Saturday at 8 p.m. on NBC. The other teams that are still in it are Dallas and the... Oh, I'm going to do that. Okay, well, I'll skip them real quick. The other team that's in it is the Predators and the Sharks. Their next game is Friday at 10:30 p.m. on... I can't read what that is. And I'm very proud to announce... Oh, it feels good to say this. A certain team who I cannot stand has been beaten by the St. Louis Blues. That's right. The Chicago Blackhawks are out. You got knocked out. Yes, let the hurt flow through you. Fuck the Blackhawks. I'm glad you lost. So they're playing Dallas. Their next game is Friday at 8 p.m. That's all the news I have for today. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day, evening, whenever the hell you watch this. Goodbye.